Hello, everybody joining in. Welcome to Parador. Parador is a leading international brand for premium quality wooden flooring with a rich German legacy of more than 40 years. From the house of HIL, a CK Birla company. Today we are here for another episode of the gripping series that we call Start with the Floor, sharing inspiring stories of successful entrepreneurs from the field of architecture and design, knowing them from the very foundation, which is flooring. Introducing myself, I am architect Himani Ahuja. I am an architectural specialist, communication specialist and architect, and the co-founder of One Digital and Designworks Asia. Today, the guest of the episode is architect Hardesh Chawla. He has been the driving force and business head of Essentia Environments since the founding of the company in 1999. After a successful career, in financial services and real estate, Hardesh found his true calling in creating beautiful spaces for us and clients in India and abroad. An avid squash player and a regular at the gym, Hardesh believes that design is omnipresent and inevitable. Let's welcome him and add him.
Hey, Himani. Thanks for the intro and thanks for the invite. Glad to be here. How are you?
Thank you. I am good. Hope you're doing well. And we are very happy to have you and to know your story.
As am I. Mhm. As am I. Good to be here on this platform.
Thank you. Okay. So let's start. Let's not waste time and start knowing about you, which I am very intrigued to.
Okay, now I started losing you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Himani, yeah, now it's better. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, can you repeat what you said?
Yes, so I just wanted to quickly start knowing about you.
I can hear you now. Can you just repeat what you said?
Yes. Okay. So tell us about your early years. Can you tell me about the house you grew in and, how did you come into design?
Okay, so I think our entry into design sphere was by happenstance, in sense. And let me also correct. I think you mentioned I'm an architect. I'm not an architect. I'm an engineer by profession. Right. But yes, yeah. Now we do have a lot of architects on in our team, and we are probably one of the largest design studios in the country.
Right.
Growing up, I think. What can I say? I was born in a place called Rohtak, and we lived right in the center of the city. So, which was noisy, it was cacophonic, it was crowded, and but I think probably one of the whatever was lacking, there was a lot of love there. So I think I remember those days very, very fondly. And then, yeah, when I was very young, we moved to Gurgaon, and then we have been here ever since, except the time when I was elsewhere. I don't think I ever thought about getting into this field. Those were the days when you had only limited choices. Either you could be a lawyer or an engineer or a doctor, or you were nothing. So I went into engineering. But yeah. And then we started working. In sense, I think both Monica and I, we were doing our own bit separately. Right. Then somehow I landed in Moscow, and my first introduction to design was when we did our office there. This was in '94.
Okay.
And when we did our office, and that was my interaction with the designers and architects there when we were doing up our own office, and I kind of realized that I enjoy the process.
Right.
And that was I think was something that got me hooked to this sphere.
Right. Okay. So, did you always want to be an engineer? Like you said, that there were certain limited fields that were there, doctor, engineer, that were the major aspects of it. But what really happened that you got connected to the built environment in some way?
Like I said, okay. So I think every one of us, they have certain things that they like more than the other. engineering, when I look back at the engineering, I think what it has taught me is what is engineering at its heart? It's basically a problem solving, methodology. In sense, you are trained to solve problems. So
Right.
I think that I must admit about engineering. So then once you have done that engineering degree or the engineering course, you can you can be thrown into any kind of environment or a situation and you'll always find a solution because that's what you have been trained for. Uh, but I remember growing up, I always liked to tidy up the place, put the things in order. Whenever we would be building our house, even though I was very young, I was more than happy to give my inputs. So I
Right.
think that was basically that there was some inherent interest that you had. So
Right.
I don't think when we were growing up or when I was thinking about, you know, deciding on a course, interior designing was even a profession that would have entered my mind. It didn't. Not
Right.
many people would have heard of interior designing in 80s. So engineering was a viable option, and I'm glad I did that. But once I got involved into beautifying the spaces or renovating the spaces, and then I found. So like I said, we started with our office. Then one of my partners, he was doing his house, and I got involved. And I think I spent more time doing up his house than he himself did. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so okay, so a lot of things happened there, and what led us to here, and that was just the starting point. Yes.
True, true. Interesting.
Hmm.
That's an interesting
Hmm.
take, how an engineer comes into a design field and changes it for
Hmm.
everybody else around, right? So, this was really the foundation that happened. But were
Hmm.
there certain influences by people around you that helped in, building your design philosophy and entering this field? Are there certain people?
I think more than the people, I think it's the places. So when we were like we were uh, growing up, it was a regular middle class family household where money was always at a premium. So you had to
Right,
make do with less. I did my engineering from South India, and from there, I think I must have imbibed certain sense of simplicity, lack of ostentatiousness. Uh,
right,
then I moved to Australia. Uh, there, I believe, without even, I think subconsciously, you pick up that people value comfort. They more in tune with the nature. Most of the time they're outdoors. So I think so I think that sense of comfort and sense of uh, down to earthiness, that I must have picked up from there. From
right,
there, right after from there, I was transported to Russia. Now in
oh,
Russia, uh, it has now become a little different, but in early 90s, there the architecture was, and to large extent it still is, it was basically designed to put you in awe, whether it was the size, the grandiousness, or the sheer beauty of it.
right,
Everything, including the roads, the infrastructure, the buildings, all of it was designed for one singular purpose. It was to put you in awe of the state. Okay,
right,
so I think so from there, I'm 100% certain, that has influenced my or our design because Monica also spent a lot of time there. I'm quite
right,
certain that it has influenced our design philosophy a lot. I
right,
also was fortunate to spend some time, and I lived in France for a little bit, for more than a
okay,
year. And I think there was that elegance and the sophistication. So I think all of this has probably, influenced and even probably defined our design philosophy. So
right.
if you will look at our work, what you'll find is, and this is a theme which will run, I think, common to all our projects. You'll
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
And did we lose you? Okay, so you'll find that. Let me repeat. So you'll find that they are simple, they're comfortable, they're functional. There's a lot of nature. We love doing that. Whenever designing an architectural project, we look at it. How can we bring the nature in? How can we make the house look outwards? We want to bring the
Right.
and we do spend a lot of time and effort doing up the landscape and other areas, and we want to celebrate that. And above all, the common unifying theme would be elegant and sophistication. So I think all these places have probably helped us, evolve into what we are today. So yeah, it's not people, it's probably the places.
Interesting. Right, right. So you are basically, a globe-trodden person who kind of delved into all these structures and, built a philosophy
Yeah,
of your own with Monica. Yes. Okay, so
true.
how did you think about forming Essentia Environments? You worked at different parts of the world. So
Hmm.
what was your driving force, and what did you do before finding it, and when did you think that this is the right time for Essentia
So
Environments?
okay, so I don't know whether many people are aware about this. I think most of people within our organization are probably not aware of this. So in
Yeah.
1998, there was a crisis. There was an Asian crisis that impacted Russian business a lot. Okay, the Russian currency was devalued, and so that was a time where the certain properties within the Moscow city they become very very viable, and Moscow city was auctioning those properties off. Okay,
Okay.
now these were typically properties which had potential, but because the owner was the government, and they were quite
Right.
dilapidated. So we ended up acquiring quite a few of those, okay, during that time, just for no other reason other than that they were cheaper. Okay, uh, but
Yeah.
having acquired those, there was nothing I could do or we could do, when as long as the properties were in those conditions. Okay.
Right. Right.
So so this was kind of forced upon us that okay, now that we have invested so much of our hard-earned money into that, now how do we get
Yeah.
out of this? Okay, so that was when we decided, okay, we need to upgrade these facilities, we need to beautify them, we need to make something out of them. Okay, and so that I think was what
Interesting.
got into this professionally. And so once we started doing that and we started leasing those properties, and then when the tenants grew, they asked us, hey, we love what to do it for us now that we are going through some other premises. So I think that kind of led. And once we moved back to India a few years later, and we just continued with that. So not many
Right.
people
Right.
now
So,
associate us. People now associate us with high-end residential projects, but we started with commercial, and we're still continuing to do that. Not many people
wow.
seem to realize that. Yeah.
Right. Right. Any reasons of moving to India? Did you see scope of
Well,
moving to?
yes, I think I can attribute that entire decision to Monica. So we had a son, and as he was growing up, both Monica and I we were busy doing whatever we were doing, and we felt that okay, it's probably not the ideal environment for him, and
Yeah.
his grandparents they were missing him here, and he was being raised by the nanny. So we thought that hey, I think we should move back this Diwali.
Right.
Okay, and that was just a thought in my mind. And a few days before Diwali, I come back home and I see Monica has all the boxes and everything is being packed. I said, "What are we doing?" She said, "We are moving back. We decided we are going back this Diwali," and that was it. So
Wow.
we came here without any plan, without any ideas of what we would be doing here. But yeah, it just happened, just like that. Yeah.
Right. Right. So we have
So,
Pratibha saying that it was a great decision that you made to move back.
okay. Well, I have absolutely no complaints. Like I said, I am an engineer at heart, so I found a solution. We did the best we could now that we were here. I have no idea what we would be doing had we been there, so it's okay. But yeah, but we are glad we are
Right.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, we'll come to commercial spaces, which you've told me about, but let me talk
Mm-hmm,
about what you are so renowned for here in India, specifically,
mm-hmm,
and outside, which is
mm-hmm,
luxury houses. So,
mm-hmm.
according to you, what are the components of a beautiful home?
Okay. Let's start with the space planning. Okay, so the house has to be functional.
Right.
And I repeat this a lot, that given abundance of time and money, anybody can do a great, anybody can make a great house or any kind of space. It's when both
Right.
are in limited supply that creativity comes to the fore. And so we start with functionality, and I think we are probably the only organization that spends up to 2 weeks just taking the brief. And our brief at times is quite intrusive, and we request the client to endure that. Why? Because we first try to establish as to what the client's expectations are from their property, not just for today, but moving forward in future. What is their lifestyle? Uh, how different members of the family, how do they use or they intend to use this property? So I think that that brief becomes a
Right.
little intrusive. It's quite comprehensive. It's very detailed. Only after we have established as to what their lifestyle is and what they expect out of this, we start the design team, led by Monica, picks up the pencil or pen and start working on that. So I think
Right.
functionality, I cannot say this enough, is very, very important. No matter how much what kind of clothes you put on it, if you're not comfortable with your body, you'll never look good, Forget about other issues,
Right.
but you'll not
Right.
even look good. So I think so that skeleton, that basic space planning is extremely important. When we are doing that, however, we do highlight the areas in our mind as to what we want to celebrate or what we want to showcase, and then the planning happens like that. So even for architectural projects, we work inside out. We never pick up a template of a building, put it there, and then start working and say, okay, so here is a building for 5 bedroom, here is a building for 6 bedrooms. It does not happen like that.
Yeah.
And so the brief is very important. Our space planning is, as a result, I think we take a lot of pride that when we present our first cut space planning, more often than not, as a matter of fact, I think close to 99% of the time it is accepted in the first go itself. It's simply
Right.
because, not because we are magicians, but because we spend a lot of time understanding the client's requirements. And Monica,
True.
fortunately, is a very detailed oriented person. I am more of a broad stroke guy. Monica enjoys, spending time mulling over the plans again and again, over and over, over and over. And I think that helps a lot. So it's a good combination.
Right. Right.
So, uh, yeah, the connection seems to
Right.
be
I
giving us some bit
Yeah.
of issue.
Yeah. I Right. Can you hear us now? Can you hear me? Right. Okay. So,
So,
I agree with you that these lifestyle issues that people have when they get a house done, when it is not well
mhm,
confers with the designer, is a very major issue. And since you need to live
mhm.
in that house, it needs to build with the client itself, right? So I totally
True, true,
agree
true.
with you,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
Monica's vision
Absolutely.
on this,
Absolutely. And
right?
we strive for that. All our clients, when they come, they meet us, they love what we are doing. That's why basically it's understandable. That's why they have come to us. But once we finish designing their house, this is something, very common phrase that we hear from them is that we love all your projects, but we love ours the best. And that's what we strive for,
Yeah,
because
I
eventually,
think
end
that's
of
a
the day,
great compliment. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
great
end of the
compliment.
day, the client's personality will seep through. It has to. Yes,
Right.
we guide him, we ensure that his budgetary constraints are met. We understand that each client would have a preference over one style over the other, and so we guide him so that the project has that essential look, but it also has the client specific look always.
Right, right. So, which
So
is the favorite part of your job and which is the least favorite? Let me know about that.
uh, again, in sense, we are, now, we are a large organization, and I'm fortunate enough to have the choice of to not to do what I don't like. So um, um,
Yeah.
and then another thing I think that sets us apart is that we spend a lot of time and effort in training our team, and we are blessed
Right.
now that we have such a large and I think talented team that most of the work people are able to manage on their own. Uh, so in sense,
Right.
so yeah, so now I wouldn't say that there is anything that I don't like, because if I don't like something, I simply won't do it. So and as far as
Great.
concerning that, yeah, what I like doing, I would say, I like everything about it, especially the team. I think that's what makes it a pleasure. You know, if you don't like people around you, there's no point coming to to work here.
True, true.
So
I agree.
most of our clients are our lifelong. They've become lifelong friends. You know, they become part of our family. We are invited to their events and celebrations, and they are invited to us. So I think that the biggest upside of doing this work is that we get to make a lot of new friends, and
Right.
yeah, so I'm glad about that actually.
Nice. Okay. So there are different typologies of architecture and interior design that happen. So which one is your favorite? Luxury, contemporary, traditional, vernacular? What do you like personally?
I don't think they are mutually exclusive in sense that so I would say in all our projects you'll find elements of all of these. So they'll all be luxurious. Okay. So we have positioned ourselves as value engineers in sense that we would not make a client
Right.
spend unnecessarily. So, and often
Right.
we'll hold his hand also if he's going for something more expensive than it needs to be. Uh, but that does not mean that any of our projects is cheap. You know, it needs a certain amount of money to build a nice place. Most of them are
Right.
contemporary. Yes, our innate sensibility is contemporary. It is modern, but there always be an element of tradition. Traditional element in all our projects. Now, within our own house, we have a huge tree in the courtyard. Now that you can't go more traditional than that. So,
Right.
so I think it's our own interpretation of, so whatever worked or whatever has worked in the past, we would definitely want to incorporate that, but we'll I think treat it a little differently. We'll make it a little more modern, yeah. And probably simpler to use. So,
Right, right. Okay. So I will showcase a couple of photographs that I have from your
mhm.
projects, and if you can just
Sure.
elaborate on those for me, it will be very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Start
no,
with
this
this one.
okay. So this is a apartment in Camellias that we are doing.
Okay.
And uh, uh, it's a beautiful. I wish they had shared with you the rest of the photographs of this apartment, but
Right.
I think probably I suspect they shared it because we are using wooden flooring in this area, and
Right.
so yeah. So this is for our end client. They have two units in Camellias, and we are doing, yeah, both of them. And
Okay.
so this is the bedroom. So yeah, we love using the wooden flooring, and I think that is the influence of me spending, or we spending a lot of time in Europe, where it's cold, and so wooden flooring is the preferred choice,
Right. Right.
and then it does give some warmth, definitely, yes.
Right. Okay. Let's move on to this one.
This is also from one of the rooms in Camellias, and so yeah, I'm touching there. I think these are just another one of the bedrooms that we are doing.
Right. Right. Okay.
Okay, this, honestly speaking, I believe also from one of the Camellias.
Right. Right.
Okay, so
So
this
I
this I
see.
can't even see actually. Yeah, so what you're seeing is, I think they just shared some of the bedrooms or some of the renderings
Right.
from our ongoing projects where we have used wooden flooring.
Right, right. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to know what is the kind of combination. So, like we see wooden flooring. So,
Hmm.
I see a lot of luxury residences being built with wooden flooring. Is it because of
Hmm.
the earthiness that it adds to it, or what exactly is your take on, using such materials and a combination of material I see on the wall, the
Hmm.
flooring, and the, ceiling for that matter?
So I think there are there are probably multiple reasons why we would, or why a client would prefer wooden flooring over natural stone or marble. Um,
Right,
Primarily for us as a build company, we love working with wooden flooring because that's easiest to install. Uh,
right,
but compared to marble, it takes forever. But wooden flooring is just a day's job. You just so I think we prefer it that way. But often the design team would introduce wooden flooring to break the monotony, plus
right,
just to give that warmth and the earthiness, and it is required. So yeah, so in sense, typically in any residential project, we'll definitely have few rooms where we have used wooden flooring. Often in the living area also. But that is basically design centric. If the design so requires, then we do that. We love working with wood actually. So if you find in most of the projects, you'll find a lot of wooden panelings.
Yeah.
We do take wooden panelings on the ceiling, especially where we have trapdoors for the
Yeah.
FCUs, and where we need to have that openings.
Right.
So
Right.
we do that, yeah.
This one.
Yeah, this is also beautiful, also in camellias. Now look at like what I was saying, that we do enjoy celebrating the nature. So within the
Right.
apartments, we'll create pockets, where you can see the greenery. We will, of course, have large windows. So in sense, we do that. Yeah,
Right.
you
Right.
won't
It's a mix
find.
of nature coming indoors. True.
Yeah, so if we look at this particular rendering, you'll find it definitely looks. It has all of those elements that I was talking. It is simple. It is luxurious. Yes, but at the same time, it feels modern. It has some elements of some. Are we back?
I think I'm losing you here. Yeah. Can you hear me? I think there's a certain network glitch there. Can you hear me now?
Hello,
Hi.
hello. Are you back?
Yes, I'm able to hear you well. Yeah.
Okay,
So you were talking
okay.
about, getting nature indoors.
So I'm saying,
Yeah.
I'm saying typically, yeah. So in sense, if you look at this thing, it has all the elements that I had described earlier. It's comfortable. It is uh, 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 sophisticated. It is modern, definitely, but it has still some traditional elements. So I think that defines our style. We'll have one or the two elements from different areas, but then the fusion, how we put it together, I think that defines us.
Right, right. I agree. Okay. We have this last one. Can you hear me? Hi, Hardesh. Can you hear me? Let me just try and connect you back. Yeah, I think we have you back now.
Yeah. Hi.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can
Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So, thank you for sharing that tidbits about the projects. I quickly
Sure.
want to know a couple of more things from you. Okay, so what has been the turning point in your career? I'm sure there must be, certain best moments. So can you share those with us as well?
Our career graph has been linear. So I cannot pinpoint that there has been like jump. So hello.
Yeah, I can hear you well. Yeah, I can hear you well. Please go ahead.
Hi. I think is the connection problem from our end or your end?
I can see you blurred, so I don't know if it's from your end or mine. But I think I have you back. So yes,
Is it
let's go ahead with your
is it
career
okay now?
graph.
So so
Yes.
so 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 what I was saying was that it has been linear rather than that we've been unfortunate or fortunate. I can't really pinpoint. So we haven't had those jumps. We
Right.
celebrate each of the project that we get because we understand that it's going to be a long journey. Typically a residential project particularly would take around 2 years. So we
Yeah.
understand that it's going to be a relatively longer journey. And so I think even today, whenever we sign a new project, there is a level of excitement. We are happy.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for me to say, okay, that particular project or those a group of projects is what, has kind of, I remember them fondly or more, they have impacted our career more than the others. I think
Right.
everything that we have done until now has played a part. And I must also admit that we have been lucky. We probably have been luckier than most, because we have enjoyed this journey. I don't even remember any one instance where we faced a situation where we, okay, hey, what has befallen us? Now what do we do?
Yeah.
I think we have been blessed in that sense. Yeah, we have had it easy, and definitely easier than a lot of other people. Yeah. So.
Right, right. So any interior designer or an architect of current times or previous era that has
I
influenced your
don't
work
ask me. Don't
habits?
don't ask me. Don't ask me this. People come and say, "Hey, do you know him?" And always I feel embarrassed because both Monica and I, we are so antisocial. We don't. If you see, we hardly. We are not. We are very inward looking in that sense. We keep our head down. We just work. We don't. Honestly speaking, we don't interact. We get too many invites. It, it's not. When we say no, it's not because we are too busy or because we don't appreciate that. It's just that we would rather, sit at home in front of Netflix, and we enjoy doing that more than interacting with other people. We have enough of that within the work time. Yes. So yeah.
Right, right. Okay. So any advice that you would like to give young designers starting out today?
Uh, I think one piece of advice that I can give them is that they need to be persistent. Often I see people, they come, they start doing something, and then they expect instant gratification. They are looking for success, that
Right.
they have their internal timetable in their mind that, okay, we have been at it for 6 months and it hasn't worked. So let's switch and do something else. So maybe what we are doing is either we are uh,
I think we are losing out on the connection again.
Are we back? Are we back? Okay. So
Yes,
so often,
yes.
so I think this self-doubt or this spirit of hurrying along, I think that forces them to shift, which is a mistake. I think they need to be persistent. So
Hi. So we have you
hi,
back.
yeah, I'm glad to be back. Seem to have lost you there.
Right,
So
right.
okay, yeah.
No worries. Okay. Yes. So please continue on what advice that you would like to give young designers.
So I think like I was saying, what I would advise them to do is be persistent. In sense, do not expect instant gratification. You have to, uh, the success will come. In sense, just be at it. If you're not sure, I think spend more time contemplating. Spend more time thinking about what you want to do and how you want to go about it. But once you take that decision, once you've decided that, okay, this is the path I'm going to tread, then stick to it. It might take a year or two longer than what you had originally imagined it to,
Right.
but you will get there. It's to to always be true to yourself and to your client. So if there's something which you feel you cannot deliver, say so right away. Say no. It's very difficult at times to say no to a business, especially when you're struggling. But I think that in the long run, it
Right.
probably harms you more than what it helps you. So I think, so one, you should just take whatever you can handle comfortably. Start small, deliver, okay, build your relationships, and then suddenly you'll realize that, people are talking about you, people like what you have done, they are recommending you to other people, and so that's how you grow. So
Yeah.
continue doing what you have decided to do. Stick with it, and be patient. But that would be my advice, I think. So and
Right.
I see,
Right.
and I
Thank
and
you
then
so much for that advice.
my pleasure. And then, in our work, we see a lot of young people, and I see there's no shortage of talent. If you and
Yeah.
then sometimes, I'm so impressed with the zeal and the enthusiasm that they bring. So I think, I feel that the country is in right hands and will continue to grow and do well. There's no shortage of people. It's just that why people don't succeed, why everyone does not succeed, is probably because of I think 80-90% of that would fall in this realm, that somehow either they give up too soon
Yeah.
or they just, get ahead of themselves. So
Right, right. And I think we have a pool of talent, and
we
we
do,
just
we do,
need to
we do.
streamline it well.
Yeah.
And for that
They
advice
need to
is
be
great.
they need to be nurtured though. So this is another thing, and I'm very glad that somebody thought the education system needed to be updated. It was long overdue. People who come to us from their colleges or their institutes, I they need a little bit of nurturing, and I think,
Yeah,
but with a little bit of direction, a little bit of nurturing, everybody does very well. So I think, yeah. So
right, right. Thank you so much. Thank you for
my
giving
pleasure,
us your time and being
my
a
pleasure,
part
my
of
pleasure,
Parador. Start with the
my
first
pleasure, my
staring.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.